Coming up on Cogeco News, a who's who of top city officials gathered to talk about the ongoing COVID-19 crisis. That crisis also impacting the business community in a major way, and another sports organization shuts for the year. Logan, everybody, welcome to this edition of Cogeco News. I am Greg Estabrooks. The local health unit and the City of North Bay held a joint news conference on Tuesday afternoon live on your TV to update the city on the ever-evolving COVID-19 crisis. It was an hour-long press event you saw live right here on your TV, which will be replayed, by the way. Clarke Heipel has the story on what you need to know following the briefing at City Hall.
Numerous city and regional leaders on hand on Tuesday afternoon at City Hall to update the ongoing efforts to limit the spread of COVID-19 in our region. Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Jim Chirico, spoke to the level of risk at this point in time.
It is important to remember that the risk in our community remains low, and I want to stress that to date there have been 0 cases of COVID-19 in our district. It is anticipated that COVID-19 will end up circulating in the community, and there will be positive cases. And sadly, there will be more deaths. So far, there have been 5 deaths in Canada, one of which was reported today in Ontario. This should be kept in mind, however, when comparing approximately 3,500 deaths each year from the flu. This is not to minimize what we're facing with COVID-19. Do we need to take this seriously? Absolutely. Do we need to prepare for the worst? We are.
North Bay Regional Health Centre CEO Paul Heinrich praised his staff in implementing one of the first COVID testing centres in the province.
Today, I want to assure our community that we are ready. We have an incredible team of frontline and support staff that are working around the clock to provide care for all of our patients while we finalize our preparation for the inevitable higher patient volumes. Over the weekend, our staff stepped up to be part of the front line fighting against the spread of COVID-19 by opening and staffing one of the first 17 assessment centers created in our province. We are ahead of many communities in our preparation.
North Bay Mayor Al MacDonald announced more closures, including City Hall itself.
Today, the city is announcing beginning tomorrow morning, City Hall will be closed to the public, and we've been in touch with DSAB and they are in full agreement. Also, other city facilities such as Public Works and Parks, our wastewater plant, our water treatment plant will be closed to the public except for appointments only.
The level of impact on business is significant in our area as more closures are announced daily. The business climate continues to take hits.
I certainly want to stand here today and let everybody know that business is changing right now. For the next number of weeks, as this unfolds, we'll be tuned to our health professionals for guidance, for the opportunities that may arise during this crisis that we have in front of us. But certainly it's a time for business to step up, show the way, the social distancing that has been requested. We believe that our business community will step up to that challenge to make sure that things don't get out of hand. The next few weeks, as I said, are going to be key, and we certainly hope that all the members of the public will listen to the health professionals as to what they say, provide the guidance to make sure that our community, our province, our country is safe over the next little bit.
Following the formal remarks, I asked Dr. Chirico how many COVID tests have been administered in our district.
We don't have those stats, but because we don't, sometimes they won't just be tested at North Bay Regional Health Centre. They may be in other venues, as other hospitals, as well as primary healthcare providers can send off tests if they feel clinically it's indicated. But what I can tell you is that we get every single report if it's positive, and through the health unit. And we have to date 0 cases, but we do expect that that's going to happen.
While a temporary COVID testing location is set up outside the emergency wing of the hospital, city workers are preparing for a larger testing facility to be set up at Memorial Gardens if needed.
It's a constantly evolving thing. We've got a team of experts who are designing and operating this at the same time. And as I said before, we're not going to make it into too big of an operation before it's necessary. So if it works out the way I hope it does, we don't actually need to scale up into a bigger place, but the need may be there. And in that case, we're more than ready, thanks to the help from Public Health and the City of North Bay staff, who I'm so proud to be partners with.
You can watch the rebroadcast of this press conference in full at 1 p.m. on Wednesday. Reporting for Cogeco News, I'm Clarke Heipel.
Chief Medical Officer Jim Chirico did mention that someone has died in Ontario. The Ontario Health Minister says a 77-year-old Muskoka resident has died in a Barrie hospital. This happened a few days ago, and that COVID-19 was detected in the system of the deceased after their death. Christine Elliott, the health minister, says the coroner's office is still trying to figure out whether the virus caused the death or not. Later in the day, Ontario's Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. David Williams, stated that the death potentially could be connected to COVID-19. And of course, we'll know more because things are changing by the hour. And a new day meant new closures throughout the province in response to the COVID-19 outbreak, with the declaration of the state of emergency in Ontario. Well, it meant a long list of closures. Clarke Heipel has the latest.
As part of that state of emergency announcement from Ontario Premier Doug Ford on this Tuesday morning comes the mandatory closure of bars and restaurants, the dining area of those establishments. Takeout and delivery options still available. However, these mandatory closures comes on one of the busiest days of the year for the food and beverage service industry, St. Patrick's Day. This is merely file footage of green beer off the tap, as this won't be happening this St. Patrick's Day. Bars, along with theaters, libraries, rec programs, daycare centers, and places of worship, all to be closed today until at least March 31st. Fast food chains restricting their food service to walk up and walk out, while drive-through remain to be a preferred choice for many customers, as chairs can be seen stacked on tables. Many restaurants had signs posted in their doorways late Tuesday morning advising of the closures, with many open signs dark. From restaurants to doctor offices, local family doctor patients received calls on this Tuesday advising them that their non-urgent doctor's appointments have been canceled. In some cases, telephone-based appointments were offered in lieu of canceled in-person appointments. The abnormal, unfortunately the new normal amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Reporting for Cogeco News, I'm Clarke Heipel.
Ontario Premier Doug Ford did the expected and necessary. He made a decision to declare a state of emergency in the province of Ontario. Nipissing MPP Vic Fideli is a member of the Ford cabinet and sits in on those high-level meetings. I wanted to know from Fideli via the telephone about the supply chain, given the shortages at so many local grocery stores.
Well, people need to act responsibly. We're still making the products. I spoke with one of the toilet tissue companies who manufactures in Southern Ontario, and they're working 24/7. Of course, orders are up. There's no shortage, if you will. It's just a matter of getting the products on the shelves, and that's still happening. There's no real shortage from a manufacturing perspective. It's just keeping up with the sales.
Fideli wouldn't weigh in on the rumored possibility that either Donald Trump will shut down the U.S.-Canadian border or Justin Trudeau will shut down the U.S.-Canadian border from his end.
I'm concerned from an economic perspective in terms of the Premier announced today that we won't be coming out with a budget next week. We're going to come out with a sort of a fiscal economic update. We're increasing resources for healthcare. We're adding $300 million today. The Premier announced $304 million actually. It's $100 million to increase capacity in hospitals, $50 million for more testing and screening, and $50 million to protect frontline workers, first responders. The list goes on and on. It's $304 million that we're investing today. Protecting seniors in retirement homes, residential facilities, Indigenous communities, long-term care homes. This is our priority today. Important we stick together. Our cabinet met extensively yesterday here in Toronto. We met again this morning at 7 o'clock. We're using every power possible to limit the spread of COVID-19. The Premier's words and many others around the world are we're trying to flatten the curve, which of course is by saying we're trying to keep the number down. We're closing facilities. We're preventing public gatherings of 50 or more people. All of that is intended to reduce the spread. And quite frankly, that aligns with all the medical advice we're getting, including the newest phrase, social distancing. So that's what's happening.
Tough times in downtown North Bay and at the malls too, and will likely get even more difficult before it gets better. We asked the board director of the downtown improvement area what is her message to her retail and service industry counterparts.
My messages to the merchants are, you do what you have to do and you make your own decisions in reference or pertaining to your businesses. I mean, I would never dictate to people what they should or they shouldn't be doing other than wash your hands and stay safe and follow the protocols that the health unit and people in those positions are telling us to do. We've been very lucky so far in this community, and I'd like to see that luck, continue.
People still are being told for the most part to stay home unless it's an emergency, but the merchants downtown still want people to come in and purchase their goods. So how do you kind of balance that?
Shopping doesn't stop necessarily at this time because people need products and services. And what the message for us is that don't forget that we are here for you. Some of the merchants and or professional businesses have limited hours, so please check with them first. But if you need something, there are a lot of merchants that are offering to deliver. There are a lot of merchants that are offering to deliver to your car as well if you want to buy goods and services from them. A lot of the restaurants down here who have been mandated by the government, to close their dining room areas in order to keep people safe, are still doing takeout. So if you need food, you can order it on the phone, and if you need it brought to your car, a lot of the merchants are going to bring things to your vehicles. So check with everybody.
And this hits close to home for you because not only are you running the DIA, you're also a business person yourself in the food industry.
Yes, I have two businesses down here. One is a retail business and the other is a restaurant. So we did the smart thing, I think. We took out all the chairs, we left the tables so that people understand that, they can't come in and eat, and it's for their own safety and for staff safety and for community safety. And I'm keeping my people working. We're cooking away in the back, so if people need food, we're there for you. And it keeps my young staff working.
Breakdown has arrived here on the newscast. When we come back, the Humane Society perspective on the crisis. Welcome back, everybody. The North Bay and District Humane Society is closed to the public. However, operations are still ongoing to help find our four-legged friends forever homes. Clarke has an update on the animal shelter situation amid the COVID-19 concerns.
The North Bay and District Humane Society ahead of the curve as they have been in preparation for the coronavirus outbreak for weeks.
Knowing that this was kind of on the horizon, we started to put things into place just to make sure that we were going to be prepared. We started having staff meetings, we started putting together some policies and some procedures, and just started really to think about what this was all going to mean and how could we respond appropriately. Last week, probably in the middle of the week, we had a big staff meeting and really decided it was probably in the best interest of the organization to shut down and to just give everyone the opportunity to stay safe. Staff are here all day pretty much, making sure that we're still cleaning the facility, that we're still caring for the animals, but just making sure that we're keeping the staff safe and reducing any exposure.
One important message that I wanted to get out is that you're still doing adoptions. How are you doing that process if you're closed to the public?
So adoptions are still being accepted as they've always been, which is online. So people can go to our website, which is northbayhumanesociety.ca, go to the adoption section. We've got lots of animals that are there and available for adoption. As we receive the applications, we're reaching out to the applicants and just making appointments. So people can come and still visit us for appointments. When they arrive at the facility, obviously we're still monitoring anything for like illness or anything. We just want to make sure we're not exposing ourselves to anything. But in that time, making sure, we're still continuing, making sure that animals are still being available for adoptions to the public.
Now, you are preparing for an influx of animals during the situation. How is that the case?
So again, in discussions, just making sure that we're prepared for what might happen. There is always a possibility if there's an increase in hospitalizations that may lead to an increase in pets that are abandoned, not necessarily by choice, but just by circumstance. So knowing that that's a possibility, just making sure that's one of the reasons why we want to keep up adoptions, because we want to make sure that animals are leaving the facility to make room for any that may need to come in due to unfortunate circumstances.
If someone comes across a stray and or injured animal, they can still call the shelter and then shelter staff will respond?
Yeah, so I've been in contact with all the municipalities that we serve, City of North Bay, West Nipissing, East Ferris, Monfield, ensuring them that we are continuing to honor our animal control agreements. Even though we're closed to the public, people can still call. Our animal control officers are on call and are able to respond to any stray or injured animals.
And I am happy to report that Pet of the Week will go on as scheduled. Stay tuned to Cogeco News for Thursday's edition of Pet of the Week. Reporting for Cogeco News, I'm Clarke Heipel.
Breakdown has arrived here in Cogeco News. The weather is coming at you right after this.
Weather is brought to you by Canadore College. Great things happen here.
Welcome back to Cogeco News. I'm Clarke Heipel here in downtown North Bay. I am here for your 5-day weather forecast brought to you by Canadore College. It is St. Patrick's Day, and unfortunately it will be one to remember for all the wrong reasons. Amid this COVID-19 outbreak, all restaurants and bars are closed for dining in, so you just have to order takeout or get delivery if you choose to eat out. It'll be eating in on this St. Patrick's Day. Let's take a look at the 5-day forecast brought to you by Canadore College. Heading overnight on this Tuesday night, a cool low of -11, the wind chill making it feel a little bit colder, and there is a chance of flurries in the evening. We did have heavy flurry squalls in the morning and early afternoon on this Tuesday. On Wednesday, the 18th of March, sunny skies to look forward to, high +1, low -3. Looking ahead to Thursday now, the first day of spring. 19th of March, Thursday, high +4 with chance of flurries or rain showers and a low of +1. Above freezing low on Thursday night. Looking ahead to the weekend now, Friday, snow is in store, high +1, low -17. And Saturday, the 21st of March, high -6, low -15, mix of sun and cloud. Turning the page back to the almanac, Monday we had a high of 1 and a low of -13. The normals are 1 and -8 for the high and low. Well, there you have it. There is your 5-day weather picture. We do have sports right after this very short break. Greg Estabrooks is standing by with more. Stay tuned.
Sports is brought to you by Tag Construction for all your construction needs.
Welcome back, everybody. No hockey on the ice, but evidently some hockey going on in the boardrooms. On this day, the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, their commission announced that the regular season has been scrapped. And as for draft order, they're going to go by the prorated winning percentages of all the teams in the league to determine their draft order. The OHL, of course, still hasn't officially decided, but Dave Branch is commissioner of the OHL and the CHL. So apparently they're having a Board of Governors conference call on Wednesday, where I would imagine they're going to do the same thing in regards to the regular season. As for the playoff order, if they do something different than the Quebec League, that would be a bit of a surprise, but we don't know exactly what's going to happen just yet. Battalion would pick first if they go by the Quebec model. Meanwhile, everything's canceled in sports. The Coldwell Banker Bonspiel, one of the biggest of the year, and the rest of the Granite Club curling season is not on the ice. After an attempt very briefly to press on with the campaign on the weekend, the board at the club decided early Monday morning to shut things down. The hope is to be up and running for a major curling camp at the end of June. On the weekend, the Granite Club's plan was to press on with certain safety and hygiene restrictions. Not long after that, the plug was pulled for the year. And what's worse is that this weekend coming was supposed to be the 42-team Coldwell End of the Year Bonspiel, a big moneymaker for the Granite Club.
The board met this morning, and they're just trying to take all the precautions they can. It's just more erring on the safe side of things. So we did have a big event coming up this weekend, but we want to play it safe. We're going to cancel it. We've also canceled our leagues, and our facilities closed now until the end of our curling season.
Now, in other years, that would have been a death blow to the curling club. Now the curling club had been on a better footing, but nevertheless, financially, this is a hit.
Absolutely, yeah. It's one of our biggest fundraising weekends of the year. Surely we're gonna recoup some funds by closing down earlier and maybe saving through utilities a little bit. But nonetheless, we would have loved to run that event, but we're just taking everyone's safety into consideration as a primary focus.
So the ice is going out as we speak, and it may be opened, you hope, at the end of June or put back in for a big summer camp that you have and a big summer spiel you have.
We're hopeful, yeah. Every year we host the Northern Ontario Curling Association's High Performance Camp in late June or late July. Then we have a big summer curling tournament. So yeah, our fingers are crossed, we'll be open by then. So we'll just have to see how things go.
From a financial standpoint, can the club withstand this blow?
Yep, absolutely. Like you said, a handful of years ago it would have been a little bit tougher. We've been making a lot of changes to be in a better financial footing. So I think we can weather this. That is it for news, weather, and sports for this Tuesday. Join us again for more Cogeco News on Wednesday.